started, cleaning, prepping for the season. And then early summer turns into a lot of transplanting and weeding and staying on top of getting all the garden beds set up and planted. And then late summer turns into harvesting, weeding and harvesting, maybe a little bit of reseeding some stuff, but that's the seasonal gamut. Yeah.
Wow. It sounds like so much work, but I'm glad I can see it in your face, just like how rewarding all that hard work is, though. So cool.
Yeah.
The Real Organic Project?
Yeah, so the Real Organic Project is a second certification. So we are organic certified through the USDA, but the Real Organic Project really emphasizes keeping soil in organics, and like your pasture raised animals. And when organics started, that was the point of it is your plant and your soil has a relation, and you have healthy, good quality plants with minimal additives because you have soil. Now, if you don't have soil and
Right.
you're growing hydroponically or aquaponically, which I definitely promote, like at least you're growing something. But it for certification of organics, you're feeding those constantly. Everything they get for nutrients, you have to add to the water. Yeah.
Right.
So it's kind of
Wow.
it's a cool program. Definitely worth looking into.
Like, what kind of tips or suggestions would you have for someone interested in doing like a micro scale homestead on their property, with cultivating some soil and growing some fruits and vegetables for their
Yeah.
family?
Um, well, first of all, I'd like to say that if you grow a piece of your own food, it will be the best tasting food that you have ever had. If you put your effort into growing a tomato and you get to harvest a tomato off of that plant or a cherry tomato, like it is so worth it. Um, so I guess if you have an outdoor plot of land where you actually have a yard, just get rid of the sod first. But if you have a local place that can add some compost or have a little dump of compost to add, starting small, radishes and salad turnips grow really fast. They don't take a ton of effort, and you get that reward. You get to eat that piece of food
Yeah,
morsel and
I
enjoy
can.
it. And then it keeps you
Yeah,
coming
I
back.
can relate to that. I will send you a picture of my turnips that I had grown last year, and it
Yeah.
was just so rewarding.
Yeah.
The My sister in law even was just like, "This picture is so cute," because I brought them for Easter, and she's like, "We took a picture, we took the picture and printed it, and they had it on a frame. It was so cute because they
Yeah.
could see the pride in my
Yeah.
eye. Like, I was
Yeah.
so happy. Like,
Yeah.
my bare hands created this incredible
So,
crop that tasted amazing. So good.
yep. So starting with something like that, or even just like a row of lettuce. I mean, you can get just packet of seed and just dig a little trench and sprinkle your lettuce, and it can just come up as cut lettuce. You don't have to worry about growing a head of lettuce or anything, but having something to that effect. Or maybe you don't have yard space, but you could do a large pot with a tomato plant in it, like a cherry tomato or something, on your front stoop. But also, let's say you live in an apartment, you could give a go at microgreens or even just some fresh herbs that you can add for cooking that are in your windowsill. And that, would be a good start.
Composting at home. What
Yeah.
do you have any
So
tips on that?
I honestly don't have a ton of experience with small scale composting. They make those really cool drums that you can rotate, like you add your food scraps into, which helps with if you live in town, you're dealing with neighborhood dogs and raccoons. And we have a large scale compost operation where we're using a skid steer to turn it. And a very cool organization called Bucket Ruckus. They provide a service for you living in town. You get your 5 gallon bucket, you fill it up weekly. They come and pick it up and bring it out here to compost it. So
Oh,
you pay.
wow.
It's really neat, and I feel like more communities should maybe you want to give a go at collecting compost. To You could take it to maybe your local growing supply company, and they would be able to add it to wood chips and compost it and turn it into a usable product.
What are microgreens exactly?
Yeah, microgreens are pretty much a baby plant. So you start the seeds and you let them grow just to that first cotyledon, which is that first baby leaf. And you might see the first true leaf just poking out, but then you cut them and wash them up and eat them like a salad. They're meant to be eaten fresh. They are nutrient dense because it is just that like little baby packet of power that would be feeding the rest of the plant. And so nutrient density is way up, and they provide fresh greens all year round, which is awesome.
That's so cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Thanks for like, because I really did. I was like, I thought it was like a specific like vegetable or something, but it
Yeah,
is
no,
just.
so yeah, we do broccoli, radish, pea shoots, sunflower shoots. We do a few different blends with like arugula in it, and cilantro. Yeah, so you can totally, and if you're going to start yourself, that broccoli and radish are probably the two easier seeds to just do microgreens with that germinate easily in your, windowsill, or maybe with like a little plant light.
Do you have, Laura?
We have three.
Wow.
Yep, a 21-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
Oh my God. You birthed the 21-year-old? You look 21 yourself. I mean, I know we're the same age, but Lord have mercy. What is she doing?
That's Cirrus. That's Cirrus. So,
Oh,
when I saw you last, it must have been about 20 years ago. Did I have just one baby?
I think. I was thinking about that too. Like, when was the last time I saw you? Were
I
we
have
adults or?
We were in Arizona. I have a picture,
Oh, yes.
and we were in Arizona, and I don't even know where. I don't know how we ran into you. I don't know how that happened,
Well,
but
I lived in Arizona for many years.
yeah. So we were visiting friends in Flagstaff and ran into you. I have a photo
Oh
somewhere.
my
I gotta find it because I can't remember if my one child was 3 and then the baby was born, or if I had one child. I can't remember.
I think you just had one child, and I
Yeah.
was just like, oh my
So
God,
that
Laura
would be
has a kid.
Cirrus, and he is 21, and he does work for
Wow.
us for full time, and then he has another side job during the winter also. And then
Wow.
Ashe, my daughter, is graduating this year. And then I have my youngest is a girl, also daughter. Yeah, it's
You
unreal.
look so good,
Thank you. It's the lighting in here. It's really good.
right? I know. Every time I'm in a greenhouse, I'm like, oh my God. I could live in here. This lighting is for real. Companion planting.
Yeah.
Um, what do you offhand know, like the benefits of companion
Well,
planting? And
yeah. So like there's a lot of plants that can benefit each other. Might it be for like insects, to like deter insects, or to support the soil, because one plant might take one item from the soil and the other plant will be giving it back to the soil. But also, I guess because we're a little bit larger, we don't necessarily companion plant, but we do rotation planting, which is really important, even if you're doing small scale, to not continue to grow a potato in the same location every time, because it's taking certain items from the soil and not necessarily giving them back. So, following, even if you're on a tiny little patch, it's worth rotating. Don't grow your stuff in the same exact spot every single year. Yeah.
what is your favorite? What is your favorite crop to harvest?
Well, I guess currently in this age of our life, I think maybe potatoes. I know I've talked a lot about
Yeah.
potatoes. I like to eat potatoes a lot, but it's like digging for gold. Back in the day, we hand dug all of our potatoes, so that would not have been my favorite crop to harvest. But now we have
Yeah.
a potato digger that goes on the back of the tractor, and so it rises them up, and it's kind of like you have no idea how much is going to be under the soil, and so you're pulling them out, and it's just like ooh, more, and you're in the dirt. You're really crawling through the soil to like harvest them all, and I do enjoy that.
That's so cool. Uh, Again, looking at your social media last night, you grow the potatoes with a potato, right? Like, is that what I saw? Like that
Yeah,
turning thing? That's
yeah.
how you grow a potato.
So it's you pretty much are taking a piece of that potato which has the genetics for a potato plant. You know how your potatoes get the little eyes that can come grow
Yeah.
out of them? That will turn into the plant, and then as that root system grows out, more tubers will develop from it. So you can take your potatoes that you bought at the grocery store and plant them and grow them. Now, you will start to lack in genetics over time, and on a larger scale, you'd want to protect for disease, because that can spread. So, like, we do buy our seed potatoes because they've been tested for disease, and we that's kind of important to us on our larger scale. But plant a potato, yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's
could
so
get a
cool.
large, like 5-gallon pot and just plant a potato in it, and then when you're at the end of season, you could just dump it out, and you wouldn't have to dig it because the potatoes would all be there. You should
That's
do
so cool. And you can do this with garlic too.
So yeah, you can plant your garlic, take a single clove. But with garlic, I don't know how it does in Florida, but it needs to overwinter. So it needs that. I think it's called vernalization, where it
Hmm.
it gets that cold shock treatment
Yeah.
of the winter. But you can put your garlic in, like, I think in the fridge or the freezer, and then plant it, and it'll think it has gone through winter.
Oh,
So
really?
that's kind of cool too. I know
That's
they do
very
that
cool.
on in Hawaii. They do that on a farm that I had met there, in order to grow garlic on a tropical
That's
island.
so cool.